I think I ate nothing but Christmas cookies for Christmas.
That sounds perfect. That sounds like the best way to celebrate Christmas, I think, to be honest. Just eat Christmas cookies all day long.
Right?
It's witchcraft.
It's 4:20 a.m. Hi, and welcome to episode 49 of the Stoned Witches Hour. On this podcast, two best friends on opposite coasts of the USA get together to tell each other paranormal tales, witchy happenings, and haunting true crime, all while smoking the dankest buds in the land. I'm Layla.
And I don't know if I'm smoking dank buds, but I have a funny story of what I am smoking for you because I'm Shell and I'm high, and there's a reason why. And I'm on the East Coast, which is the Beast Coast, because we're fucked up today.
Shell has gone beast mode, and you're going to have to tell me what you're smoking. I'm so curious. It's not buds, but we'll get into that later. First, we want to talk about how this is part 3 of our holiday shows, The Ghosts of Christmas Future. And today we're going to be talking about the future of paganism, divination, tarot cards in particular, and get into what
49. 49. Wow. Bravo to us, by the
right?
way.
Pat ourselves on the back. This is the last episode of this year. We're kind of in that lost week, between the 26th of December and January 1st, when nothing really counts. Santa Claus isn't
I don't even
watching.
know where I am right now.
Yeah, I don't think your Spotify songs count towards your Wrapped next year. Nothing counts right now. It's just like a free floating week.
Well, and also I just want to point out for all of our Instagram followers, I get crazy in December, like the holidays, like there's kids and I got a grandkid this year new and like, oh my God, like stuff. So the Instagram has been a little silent the last few weeks. My bad, but I see your messages. For those of you who've messaged on Instagram, I have been responding to you. And I promise to God I will be posting here shortly. I just see now I'm in that like, what did I call it at Halloween? Oh, I called it Halloween hangover. I'm at Christmas hangover, but I still have to prepare for my New Year's hangover.
It's the lost week, Shell. I'm telling you, nothing counts this week.
Okay. Like I don't even remember if I actually work my day job this week. Like I don't
Nobody
even
knows what
know.
day it is. We're all confused. It's just, yeah, we're here. And so we're going to turn to tarot and see if we can kind of make sense of some of this madness. And I'm going to do a 3-card spread for January for all you Aquarians out there, just to kind of see what our month is going to be. Because I got 2 new tarot decks and I
Ooh,
am just thrilled.
I got 2 new tarot decks too.
Fabulous. So we'll talk about our new tarot decks. We'll do a little reading for next month and talk about the future of paganism. And today, as a surprise, we're going to bring on a surprise smoking guest whose birthday was December 27th. And we're going to hang out with
I hear
her.
she is a smoker. My favorite.
I'm
My
so looking
favorite.
forward to smoking with one of our listeners. How fun is this going to be? I'm just
This will be what, our second time smoking with a listener?
Oh, that's true. Lisa Ann was a listener turned guest on our podcast. So that's pretty exciting. Love you, Lisa Ann, by the way. Hope you're having a
We hope you had a
fabulous
good
year.
holiday, Lisa Ann.
Miss you,
And
girl.
you'll
And
have to tell me what you think about my funny weed I'm smoking tonight, Lisa Ann.
I'm so curious. You have got me so fucking curious. I don't have good weed. I have just my regular homegrown.
I'll give you a hint. I'm smoking too good a weed today.
This is definitely great weed. Don't get me wrong. Mine is get my words being all weird. My eyelids are all closing. It's definitely good weed. I'm feeling happy. Just boring. My pipe's cool though, I think. The jury's out on the pipe.
I don't know. It looks thin to me. It looks fragile.
Well, it's not fragile. It's just boring
Clear.
and it's hard to clean, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, jury's out. I'll let you know by the end of this episode. I'll let you know if I like smoking it or not. And now we'll join a conversation already in progress with our special guest Darlene and her bestie Kaylin. We've already smoked enough cannabis to kill a rhino, done a little tarot reading. We're looking at a photograph taken during one of their rituals that may have evidence of ghostly activity.
Now, do you see anything in that picture that's not physically there?
The things that we saw here was right around here. Shell had a really big,
Right, directly above that white box. Yep.
so right there.
And look right next to it to the left. Do you see the little girl's face?
I do actually.
Now there was also a Viking. You mentioned a Viking energy that was there as well.
Yes. And he's above her husband's head.
I don't necessarily see a Viking per se, but I do see the outline of a body.
I definitely felt it was more protective in that
Yes.
moment.
Yes, the energy that I'm feeling, what I was getting over here definitely felt very protective to me. I'm not sure what's going on in the center of the picture. I don't know what that is. And I'm not really sure what kind of vibe I'm getting from it. Less of an active presence and more of a, like we talk about the tape presences, like a ghost that's there, but it's not an active ghost, kind of
Yes.
like
It's on record, like it's on replay.
yeah.
Yeah, like the energy was kind of burned. I see a little girl that kind of passes through all the time in my house.
Maybe that's the replay. Maybe that's where that's the video she's walking through and just kind of does
Yeah.
the same thing all the time. Or does she interact with things or do anything different at all?
Honestly, I've only ever seen her pass through. She doesn't linger, so I think that you're right on the money with that one.
So she may be just the
especially a little
tape.
girl, since I'm sensitive, she would have approched me by now.
Right,
You
she would
know,
have said something. If it was an
exactly.
active ghost, she would have kind of tried to, react with you in some way.
Or my daughter would have seen her. One of the
Oh,
two.
your daughter's sensitive as well? Does this run in your family, your mother?
Yeah, my mom was a clairvoyant medium.
Now, have you had any contact with that other entity in the background above your husband's head?
So I don't want to be corny. I'm definitely more on the Norse side of things. So I don't want to be corny, but I definitely do practice more in like the Norse mythology side of things.
Sure.
So to me, it read Viking, but like again, I'm not trying to be that person,
No, I get it. The way that sometimes the way that protective energies appear, and that might be why we can't see it as clearly, because maybe it is Norse, and because you have that connection, you're able to see it a little more clearly. I distinctly got a feeling of protection there, and that there was a spirit there, and I can see it in the shadow. Shell also kind of could see more of a figure than I could, so maybe that's just something to do with your connection to it.
But I don't think any of the things going on in that picture are anything to be concerned about in any way. They're there,
Oh,
but
no.
nothing. I don't think there's any weirdness going on.
Just kind of, we're just protected, watched over.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you summoned, I don't know if he's there all the time, but I feel like you guys definitely summoned that Viking. Like he came because you called.
So we asked
kinda
for
did, yeah.
protection. Yeah, because we were doing kind of a big boy job, if I'm gonna be honest.
Took a month to finish.
So just
Wow.
constant. It was a big one. And it was one, yeah, have you ever had something happen and you're like, because you see that stuff with people all the time that are like, I connected with blah 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 and I'm hexed and all the
Sure.
time. And
I live
you're
in
like,
Salem. I see it
you
every
know.
day.
yeah. So like when it actually happens and you realize it after
Mhm.
so many years, you're like, am I this person?
Right.
And we've had that happen too.
I've been there.
We've been the ones that are like, are we just making this up?
And I don't want to sound guilty because yes. So I sensed it on her husband that he had kind of a generational curse type situation, and I felt that it started at work somewhere. I mean, I don't want to speak too much, but there's been a lot of awful stuff all the time, and so she was crazy enough to believe me.
Well, it worked. I could definitely tell that there's something came at your call to help. So hopefully you're seeing the results of that, because there's something there for sure. Very strong. The girl, I think, is a recording, but the
girl, yeah. The girl was a recording, yes. But what did you say? I forgot. I'm sorry.
So high, I forgot already.
oh, that's okay. No, but the Viking definitely came at your call, so that energy is definitely there. I hope that it's working out. So I'm curious. You'll have to let us know how that goes.
And that could also be it could be your spirit guide, something to think about.
Don't play with my emotions this way.
Stranger things have
That would be so cool. That's another one of those, it couldn't possibly happen to me moments, you know?
And here's Shell to confirm it for you.
And that's exactly when it's going to happen, is when
Yeah.
you go like, oh, this can't happen. Boom, here it is.
Thank you.
Up to that picture though.
Oh,
Like we sat
Yeah.
outside and we lost track of time. We were so in tuned with all the spirits that surrounded us,
Yes.
and were basically just giving us download after download, and it was amazing. Like we had an otherworldly conversation.
it was our first time ever doing something together. So it was weird. We were doing something and then it just flared. And I swear there was nothing crazy in there. I know what Florida water does, okay? Like, like, but it just all of a sudden did the big fire, and I was not prepared. And I was holding
wow.
it, and then it got hot, and it was just.
And we just both instinctually started throwing stuff on it.
But those are the times though where like deep crazy shit happened. I love
Yes.
it. I love it.
It was deep crazy.
I ended up turning that ash into a protective barrier around my house.
Smart. Very
Good
good.
idea. Yeah, very good
Which was-
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And got to give it back to the earth, you know?
Yes, always a good idea.
We hope you have the most fabulous birthday ever.
Thank you guys. Oh my gosh. I said thank you for everything. You guys are amazing.
You are very welcome.
Thank your husband for reaching out to us.
Thank you so much, Darlene and Kaylin, for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure smoking with you both and doing a birthday tarot reading, and of course talking about this extra spooky photo.
Oh, the pleasure is all ours.
Anytime you want us back on, just say the word. We'll be there.
Oh, hell yeah.
I still have my ghost story to tell you.
Oh yes, you'll have to send that to us for our next book of stories, so that'll be good.
I almost said Book of Shadows.
But you have a wonderful rest of your birthday, and I hope the rest of your year is fabulous. And
Happy 37.
Happy 37, and happy almost anniversary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was looking into the future of witchcraft and tarot and divination and stuff myself. And for some reason, I kept going back to this one article. The article is titled Modern Witches Explain Why Tech is the Future of Witchcraft. Now,
Interesting.
we can't say that we deny this at all because we are.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly kind of what we have both experienced is we went from online to in person to now it seems to be back online again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the online part is coinciding with a surge in witchcraft and divination popularity.
But it's different now. And I think part of it is the progression of time, but I also think part of it was sped up by that evil pandemic we've all experienced for the last, I feel
Absolutely.
like forever, couple of
Yeah.
years.
People were at home and they were looking for answers and looking for things that interested them and found all these online communities and online readers, and just the popularity exploded from there.
I mean, nowadays, like you can get Reiki certified online now. You can take tarot classes online now. You can take witchcraft classes in Wicca, classes in Buddhism.
Exactly. You can be part of an online coven. You can be part of all sorts of online groups.
Actually, that kind of surprised me. Call me old-fashioned, but I had come across like online covens. Like now I remember like we would like talk to each other online, but like we were still like in person. Like there's online covens that they've never met each other in person and they do everything online. And I was kind of taken aback by that. And I applaud those folks for making that connection. But it is markedly different than it was even 5 years ago. Even
agree.
5 years ago.
Yeah, very much so.
And obviously it's no secret that witchcraft is having a moment. I mean, it's our moment, it feels like. everybody I feel has even I have, and we all know that I'm probably the least technical person here. Even I have gone to witch talk.
Yes, and I think that there was an article written just last year. It was in it's called The Debrief, and the article's titled "Online Witchcraft is Popular as Hell and It Isn't Going Away." And as people are looking for more natural ways of being and more ways to connect with the earth, as climate change is happening, people are starting to look to these things, and I very much feel that witchcraft and science are cousins. There's a lot to be said for the two working side by side. And I think that, people kind of are going that way as they start to go back to a more natural state of being or desire to be closer to the earth. They're definitely looking for a religion that matches that, and paganism is it. Different flavors of paganism.
Or, and I gotta insert this because I was able to find time through the holiday season to catch this on Netflix, and I
Nice.
can't not mention it. Wednesday. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes, love that show. That's a great show.
Not necessarily Wednesday per se, just because it's so new. I mean, it's only been out for like what, a month and a half, a month, I don't know, not long. But shows like that, there's more shows that involve paranormal, witchcraft, things of that nature. I mean, Harry Potter, for God's sakes. Doesn't
Right.
everybody want to be a wizard and have a wand now? It's blown up in mainstream media, in movies and in books and in music. It's being talked about. It's kind of more in your face. Added to boredom, everybody wants to start being like Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
True. And there's the accessibility of it. In witchcraft, you don't, in different types of Wicca and paganism and witchcraft, you don't have to go through a priest or some type of school or whatever. You can, and that will definitely help you, but you can learn as much as you want to on your own. You don't have to be authorized to do it. You can just decide to do it. And it's beautiful. I guess it lends itself very easily to TikTok videos and Instagram accounts because it's so pretty. Spells, they look great.
But all these pockets on TikTok and Reddit and Tumblr, they've largely stayed out of the public consciousness until recently. You know what I mean?
That's true.
There's always been that online presence ever since the beginning of the internet. I mean,
Oh, very much so.
we talked about the witch's voice. I don't even remember when.
Yeah, pagan and witch chat rooms and AOL.
But now it's in your face everywhere, and before you had to dig for it.
That's
You don't
very
have to
true.
dig, you don't have to dig for it anymore.
And there were times, there were different shows. The what's the one with the sisters? The three sisters that were
Hocus Pocus.
no, 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 no. TV show.
Witches of Eastwick?
Nope, not that one.
Charmed.
So, there's Charmed with the three
There's
sisters and
there's a good point right there. There's so many. I couldn't think of which one you were talking about.
right, exactly. And so there's a lot of them out there and they get popular, they wax and wane, and now it's Wednesday, which isn't really exactly witchy, but kind of it's on the edge of it. And the biggest thing that I see in particular, I know my kids are there, I'm on there, you just said you're there, is TikTok. Instagram and TikTok, you see witch talk people everywhere. They have huge followings.
And that's the thing, because it's interesting that our devices are actually like, this is such a weird thought, but think of this. Our devices are now a powerful source of energy. Not only are they electronic, but they have our every thought, our every feeling, our every desire, our every curiosity, everything.
People feel insecure when we're away from our devices.
You haven't seen funny until you see someone, and I'm not saying it's funny because I've been there and been panicked, but when someone misplaces their phone and like go into that fury, it's hard
And they
not to,
lose their mind, absolute panic
it's
mode.
hard not to chuckle because you've kind of been there and you've been like, oh my God, I know that feeling.
Right, right. And so, online and finding things online is definitely going to become more and more the future of witchcraft and tarot. But it's also got a dark side, a very dark side.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the internet.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the misinformation. And like Shell said, that's the internet. There's misinformation everywhere. And it seems that misinformation proliferates much, much faster than truth. So you have to kind of vet your sources and pay attention. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's true.
I came across something really weird, and I know I know my son plays this game. I don't know if you ever have, so I have to get your perspective because we all know I'm not a gamer person. There's some witches that not only do they share spells that can be cast using technology, because there's a movement called tech witch. So you got, your kitchen witch, your hedge witch, your forest witch, your tech witch.
That's been around at least since the 90s.
I never heard of that until now.
Hey, we've done magic online. So
We
I
have.
guess we were tech witches before it was called a tech witch.
Why do we always do things before it's named? Weird. But no, this one person that is a practicing tech witch named Maxine. Her handle is at Spook the Spoon. She uses games such as Minecraft to set up virtual altars, create art pieces based on their craft, and cast spells. And says it's a great way to have fun and can be cheaper and easier for those starting out. Can you explain this to me?
Yes,
Tell me. Is this like Sims?
kind of, sort of. Minecraft is a building game and it's open world, much like Sims. It just has just a different look to it and a different purpose. I guess in Sims you build houses and communities. In Minecraft you can build the whole world. Basically, we used to do it in World of Warcraft. You can have people.
Really?
Yeah, because your character is your avatar. It is a representation of you digitally. And so that representation can go to a location and hold ritual with other avatars of people in that same space. And I would have ritual with other people all over the world in World of Warcraft. Not just role playing, but also actual full moon and Sabbath rituals.
No
Inside
shit.
the game. No shit. You can have representation of air, fire, water, earth, and deity in the game. And you can do the same thing in Minecraft. Build an altar or build an artwork that's part of a spell or part of a ritual. And you'll start to find this happening more and more often because it is so accessible to people.
No
And
shit.
yeah, and it's easier to find a community that way.
I even read that people are using emojis and kind of basically like repurposing them as sigils. They're using emojis in spells to get the
Sure, why
desired
not?
outcome.
It is a sigil. It is a sigil. And if you imbue that emoji with a certain type of energy, that's going to carry through, whether it's online or not.
Throughout the valued, treasured time at home, we'll call it that.
Ah, yes, quarantine days. How we do not miss you.
During the quarantine days, I spent those 2 years doing a online Reiki course and became a certified Reiki master.
Oh, you're one of those people who spent that time productively.
I did. I
Yeah.
did. So I actually took this with someone, kind of like they were group classes in Zoom, and then did the attunements one-on-one via Zoom. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hesitant at first. I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out because we're on the computer and we're not in the same place.
Right.
But actually, no, you do feel that connection, and you do feel that energy exchange. And I was taken aback by the fact that you actually can make that connection over the internet. So that was a first for me. So yeah, I got my first, second, and master Reiki plus attunements all in
All online.
cyberspace. All
Wow.
online, all in cyberspace. Yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. I guess I was first introduced to this concept as a kid when I read about, have you ever heard of Edgar Casey, the sleeping
Yes.
prophet?
Yep.
Yeah. He used to diagnose people. He did a lot of medical things and he would kind of go what he called the Akashic. He would go to the person's records, the Akashic records, and he would very often visit people while they were sleeping. And so he would go to sleep and go into a dream state and then he would project his energy into their dreams and talk to people and give them all sorts of answers and insight into things that were going on. But he did that from a distance. There weren't computers back then. I don't remember at all what year he was alive, but I know there weren't computers then, no phones, no nothing like that. But it was the same. If your energy can travel through a dream state or through an astral projection state, then of course it can travel just like electricity through an internet or through a virtual space.
It's just interesting that, and you know, I'm always the last person to jump on these latest fads, like connecting with people online. But yeah, no, actually, I was surprised, and it almost made me wish that I had dabbled with doing stuff like that previously, because it is a conduit. I don't know. I guess I never thought of it that way,
I can't tell you how much I kick myself that I didn't start a Twitch stream or a YouTube channel or a TikTok. But
right?
a lot of time I see a lot of disinformation, but every once in a while I'll stumble across somebody that's fucking amazing. I have to say, I was going through TikTok the other day and you see a lot of fluff. And so I saw somebody, it was something about a hex. And I initially kind of just like swiped past it. And then I went back because I liked the audio. So I wanted to hear the audio, so I was willing to like watch what I thought was going to be like a dumb kind of fluff. Look at me, how pretty I am, and what pretty tools I have, kind of TikTok. And instead, it fucking floored me. So this young witch was there, and she swiped over to doing a spell jar shell,
Oh, my favorite.
your favorite. And holy fuck, if I couldn't feel the magic coming right off that jar, whoever she hexed, not good. As she's adding herbs to this jar, I could literally feel the intention and the energy and the magic come up from that TikTok. And I was kind of happy I stayed, even though it was originally for the audio. But it's out there, there's real magic out there,
There is, and you know, there's somebody that I follow that I actually originally found on Facebook and then bounced to Instagram and then bounced to TikTok. She's real good. Psychic medium, does tarot. What are those things? I can't even think of it. The the metal rods,
dowsing
dowsing
rods.
rods.
Love dowsing rods.
She does dowsing rods, tarot, just general psychic readings. There are good people out there. There are scams out there though. But
There are.
there are good people out there.
Some of the ones that were recommended to me was Chaotic Witch Ant, Mara Caitlin on TikTok, Rising High Priestess.
I'm a big follower. My absolute top-notch favorite is Cato the Medium. Absolutely 110%.
Awesome. Yeah, we will link some up and coming people on different social media in the show notes. So if you're interested in checking anybody out, we'll have some links on there for you.
And actually, just as a side note, aside from all of the tarot and divination stuff, Cato the Medium is who I got my Reiki levels and master certification through.
Oh, nice, nice.
And
Very
she's
cool.
super fun. She's super fun, like super fun. Nice girl.
Does she offer classes on that regularly?
She does. She does. You can get them on her website, catothemedium.com. But she's on every platform. She's on Facebook, she's on Instagram, she's on TikTok, she's everywhere. And she is super awesome. And that girl is spot on accurate, like spot on accurate. She does these every once in a while, every week, I believe it is. She'll do like an hour free on Facebook Live or on Instagram Live or on TikTok, and she'll just random pull and do some free readings for people. And every single person is always commenting, "You are so spot on. How'd you know that?" Like, this girl's good.
Nice.
I've been following her now. I've been following her since the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm hooked. I think part of it is it's not just, being shut in and being quarantined and things of that. There's definitely a spiritual shift. And that started long before the pandemic and long before, people having more time on their hands inside with their devices. I just think there's been a shift to witchcraft and Wicca and paganism as a whole. I don't know, I think it's actually been ramping up for 20 years. I just think it's kind of really caught fire in the last maybe 5 years. People are abandoning traditional religion like wildfire right now. Everybody's kind of flocking to a more spiritual self.
I definitely think I have seen an uptick, like you said, maybe in the last 5 years, particularly in 2019, prior to the pandemic. Things seemed to really be ramping up at that point. And then after everyone was kind of stuck at home with the lockdown, a lot of people started looking.
It added gas to the fire, basically. But
Exactly.
the fire had already started.
And I think there's a lot of dissatisfaction with, like you said, some of the more common
Traditional.
religion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dissatisfaction there, and people want better answers.
And honestly, in the year 2022 / on the cusp of year 2023, what is a witch's best friend? Google, man.
It is a huge source of information. I love having it right at my fingertips. We used to have a huge website, circleamarat.com.
I missed that.
I do too. I think I've got all the files somewhere, but so many spells and rituals and information on the Sabbats and Esbats and anything you could want was right there. And I love that it's everywhere now.
You know, you can be like, oh, what herb should I use for this particular intention? Let me Google that. And then poof, there's your answer. You know,
Yeah.
you're not sending out, messenger pigeons to get this information. You're Googling it. So Google has become a witch's best friend.
Mhm.
The infinite YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagrams and Reddit feeds,
Yep.
the Google Classrooms, Discord servers. There is more than you can absorb of every type of flavor, every
Oh,
type of
yeah.
flavor. That unfortunately, everything, it's all out there online.
It's
But
all
what
out there
about that
online.
in-person vibe, man?
I've been trying to connect with local pagans, and I've looked on Meetup, I've looked on Facebook. Ugh, can't stand Facebook, but I went there anyways because that's where a lot of
Wait, are you
people
talking about, I was going to say, are you talking about in person or online?
in person. I want to go to local in person.
Ooh.
I miss our local community and I miss being with other pagans. And it seems like everything here is really far away. I could drive hours and hours and hours away and connect with people. And that's just not feasible for everyday life. I'm lazy.
But see, what I
I'm
don't
not going
understand-
to do it.
I don't understand that though, because if you go online and you're like, where are my witches at? They're from like every city and every state all across the land. But the minute you want to meet people in person, there ain't a witch for 300 miles.
Well, get this. I found some people on Facebook.
People? Real people?
Real live people. And I thought this would be a great opportunity. It was a meetup group for the local pagans. And I had a little bit of a wait to get invited in. And then me and a bunch of other people all got invited. And there was a whole bunch of, yay, welcome, how you doing? And questions
What
about
do you mean you had to get, like, what's the invite process? This is
Like-
where I get a little leery.
I guess it was a closed Facebook group, which
They
you
just
know,
want to vet and make sure you're not a robot or
yeah,
some
exactly.
spy or
I didn't
okay.
have to like pass any checkpoints or anything. It was pretty much
Okay.
just I wanted to join and
You
wait
just
and
had
get
to
in.
literally exist for real. Okay,
Right,
good enough. Good
exactly.
enough. Okay.
Yeah. So, I get my invitation. A bunch of us did at the same time, and there was a flurry of activity. Hey, how you doing? Anything going on for Yule coming up? Any full moons?
And then it went dead.
Then it went dead.
Crickets.
And then a little bit later, more people got invited. Same process. So I started asking around, and I even made a post. Hey, I happen to have a large public business that has a meetup space that's free. Since there doesn't seem to be any local meetups, let's get together and talk, free coffee.
Of course
I'll bring
you'd
cookies.
Of course you'd be the one to like try to spearhead some freaking group. That's
Well,
so
fuck,
you.
if I want something to happen, I'm going to have to make it happen, right?
So what happened?
They never allowed the post. They allowed me to continue to respond to other people's posts about, hey, is there any Yule going on? No, I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything? But they would not allow me to make a post. They would not approve a post about any type of meetup.
On a meetup page?
On a meetup page because they do the meetups and apparently they're not feeling well. So I said, hey, what about I'll host an in-person meetup with a Zoom option so that more people can attend. They didn't allow it. So now I'm trying to find other groups. I'm using Reddit. I'm going through a local pagan store that also has no information on local full moons or anything like that going on. And so I'm going to start my own group and see if I can get something going. But I'm going to have to kind of skirt around the existing group that isn't helping anyone.
What? Why is this so hard? Why?
You know, Shell. You know
I do,
exactly
but-
why.
I do know why, but like I don't say that it doesn't We're dancing around the white elephant. Don't say that there's not a problem and then create a problem.
Exactly. And the problem here is control. People are afraid to give up control. If they have control of a local pagan group, when we were up and coming pagans in our group, there was a lot of fear by the old guard that these kids are coming in and they're shaking things up and they're doing things differently. And there was fear until they saw that everything was just fine. And it took them, what, 10, 15 years, but they settled down. I'm just hoping that this particular local group settles down a little bit faster. I just want to help people meet each other. I don't give a fuck about leading a group. Been there, done that, don't need to do it again, but I'm happy to facilitate a meetup.
You know, that makes me wonder if that's why I've had such a hard time connecting with any group in goddamn Salem, Massachusetts. I am in the witch capital of the world, and find somebody. Good luck. Have fun. You want to go shopping? You can go shopping all day long in this joint for anything you want. Try to get involved in a group. Good freaking luck. Okay. Like, I'm going on almost year 3 being here, and nothing, nada, zero, can't infiltrate anything. And it's not even like I'm some like baby witch. Like I've been doing this like 30 years and I can't infiltrate a group in this damn town. It is nuts so cuckoo. I don't get it.
It seems like the established groups are not interested in helping anyone at all, either join their group or facilitating meetups and spin-off groups. Not interested.
But
Some of the
I don't get it. I don't get it.
either. I don't either. And alternately, you have newbie groups that start up and fizzle out very quickly because of lack of leadership or lack of support from the other groups in the area. And I don't understand, especially because our topic of this particular episode is Ghosts of Christmas Future. And we were planning on talking about tarot cards and divination and how witchcraft is just exploding across everywhere, except in person, it seems.
That's so funny because I'm going to talk about this article I read, and the title of the article is actually about how the future of witchcraft is via tech.
Okay, well then that is right on fucking point, Shell. So I also have a couple articles that I wanted to talk to you about that are very current. One is something very near and dear to your heart. It's about the British monarchy.
Really? Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm already intrigued. I'm leaning in.
Right. So again, I know we're leaving the USA, which we've done a little bit this year, but there is a tarot reader. She goes by the name of the Northumberland Witch. And she says that amidst this Harry and Meghan drama, which I know I'm Team Harry and Meghan and you are not.
I am so not.
But she says that in the midst of all this drama with Harry and Meghan, that the royal family is actually going to come out better than they have in the past. This is actually going to open things up for them. And despite all the bombshell revelations in the Netflix drama that Harry and Meghan have just recently put out, the royal
Private
family,
lies.
Racism much by the royal family, but they said, the Northumberland Witch says, their fortunes have changed. The Queen passed this year. We have a new king. We have the first Christmas without Her Majesty. I'm sorry, Shell.
Can I just say that I obtained the most beautiful Queen Elizabeth II Christmas ornament, and it's right in the middle of my tree, and I love it.
That's so you.
God
That's so
save the
you.
Queen, man. She's on my tree now.
She says that how the papers have perceived them, how the British public has perceived this slight, it's actually going to work out better for the monarchy in the long run. So she says the Wheel of Fortune in their reading says that despite how things are now, the wheel's going to change and the British monarchy is actually going to come out in a better light.
All I gotta say is 110% Team Kate and Wills, man.
You ever see a reading by someone else, Shell, and kind of get your own impressions of that reading?
I have, because sometimes you'll see, especially online, people will post like the actual spread
Right.
and then give their interpretation, their reading. And I look at the spread and I'm thinking, that's what you get, because I get something different.
That we'll talk about that a little bit, because with this proliferation of readers and witches everywhere, as you know, comes a shit ton of misinformation. So we'll get into that in a minute. Also, those readers that love to blow smoke just to make their clients happy. Ugh, can't stand that.
And the ones that are hired by the Inquirer, that are they really readers or did they just own tarot cards?
Well, before we get too far off topic, I looked at her reading. Just from her words, I kind of immediately got a feeling, maybe because
Like
of your
what?
connection. I'm not big on the royal family, but I do love you. And I know you're big on the royal family. And so maybe that's why I kind of got this vibe. But as I was looking at her reading, the biggest feeling that I get is something shocking is going to happen in the beginning of 2023, probably the first 3 or 4 months.
Ooh.
And I do think that the royal family image is going to get overhauled and things are going to get better, but not because it's against Meghan and Harry. I think they're actually going to help Will and Kate, maybe not necessarily King Charles, but I do feel that the siblings are going to, something big is going to happen and they're going
Heal
to
the rift?
I think so. And they're going to change the face of the monarchy for the better together.
Because really, no matter what side you're on, Harry's side or William's side, we all just want these poor boys to just, they're brothers. Stop fighting.
Exactly. They're brothers who lost their mother, and their dads, they
Their
lost their
dad.
mother.
He's a swell chap.
Right? And the whole monarchy, you have to admit the monarchy has its own issues. But anyway, so the Northumberland witch is in the news because of tarot. Why when we're in the news does it have to be weird stuff? But we spoke last week about the 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho, who were brutally murdered, and
Correct.
the investigation is still ongoing.
Your Debbie Downer episode.
That's right, the Debbie Downer episode. Now, there are a lot of people covering this, both just from a factual angle, how we tried to approach it, and also from a more fantastic angle, a more like trying to get, how do you say, like trying to get attention, a more
Attention seeking.
there you go, more attention seeking way. In particular, a woman named Ashley Guillard. She is a TikTok tarot reader and she is quite popular. She has over 100,000 followers.
Because the future of witchcraft is online.
It's on TikTok and on YouTube and on Twitch. Absolutely.
And podcasts.
And podcasts, I hope so. And she has millions of views on her TikTok videos. We definitely need to get in there, Shell. But unfortunately, rather than just talk about these unsolved murders and maybe give a little bit of insight or possible speculation, which not the greatest thing, but a little speculation's not going to hurt anything. But she has promoted herself as an internet sleuth and uses tarot cards to try and solve murders.
Oh yeah, see, I don't get involved in that. No way, no how. No, not interested.
Inserting yourself into such a high profile case, and in this particular case, she has accused a professor at the school. This professor was 5 hours away in another state and has an airtight alibi. However, despite being told to cease and desist, Ashley Guillard posted over 20 TikTok videos accusing this woman.
Oh, wow. Isn't that like against the law at some point?
Yes, exactly. It comes up against defamation, and she is now being sued. Ashley is now being sued for defamation by this Idaho professor.
Wow.
And they're looking for a trial by jury.
Wow.
Yeah, the professor's filing a federal lawsuit and alleges defamation over the accusation that this professor was involved in the unsolved killing of these 4 students.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from a tarot reading?
Just from a tarot reading and her own internet sleuthing abilities.
Yeah, but you can't believe everything you read on the internet, though.
Exactly. And so that's tarot in the news right now, and both of them are bad. As I mentioned, I have a bubble pipe today.
Beautiful. It's cute.
It's cute. It's kind of ugly. Actually, we have it because my husband broke the bong.
No.
Yes.
No.
At least it wasn't me this time.
That's what I was thinking.
It wasn't me. So he broke it, and rather than spend to replace it, he got this kind of cheap bubbler pipe, which I'm not 100% sure if I like. So rather than talk about the weed I'm smoking today, Shell, I'm going, because it's just my homegrown, I'm going to talk about my pipe.
I had a tragedy.
Oh no, what
Speaking
happened?
of weed, it's me being me. Like everything worked out in the end, but it's just me being me. So I'm really high and I had to grind up some weed. So I get everything ready and I get it in there. And at one point, You know how it has the bottom part that collects the keef?
Yeah.
Well, at one point I was scooping out little pieces of keef, so I had that part open.
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
no.
as you can imagine, the whole thing is disassembled, but the keef part is like jam-packed full. Okay.
Nice, nice. I love a good full keef container.
I need to grind more, and it's all just sitting there. And who pays attention? Obviously not me. So I put the grinder back together really quick, and I
How
grind
quick, Shell? How quickly did you put it back together, Shell?
too quick.
Ah, shit.
So I grind up and I grind up a bunch, like two big, huge buds. Because I'm like, oh, I'll grind up enough for quite a while. So I grind up a bunch. I go to open it to pack my pipe, and I'm like, why isn't this opening right? This is weird. And I'm
Oh
looking
no.
and I'm looking and I'm like, why is there a piece to the grinder still on my tray?
Oh
Apparently,
no.
I ground all of the weed into the keef.
That's gonna be nice though. That'll be like a couple potent bowls or a few really nice joints. Oh fuck yeah, roll some joints with that shit. That'll be so good.
So I have like, I don't know, a little less than an eighth ground up with probably 3 grams of keef. There's nothing I could do at that point other than just dump it all in the bag together.
Fuck yeah.
So it's end game mixed with God knows what. And I'm not complaining.
Hey, when life gives you ground end game with God knows what keef, you make joints and then
That's
you're
right.
happy.
That's right.
And a good time is had by all.
So I didn't dump it on the carpet like your tragic keef story.
Oh, thank goodness.
I didn't intend to grind almost an eighth of weed into the keef, but here we are.
Well, that's sounding to me like the problem where the person with the chocolate bar runs into the person holding the peanut butter jar.
Yeah.
That's not really a problem.
If you need to function, it is.
That's right. That's right.
But I don't know. Nothing matters right now because I have that end game mixed with like probably 2.5 months worth of keef.
I can see your eyes are awfully glassy and your eyelids are coming down. You're definitely looking kind of high. I did go online and ask people what they thought the future of tarot looked like. Are they seeing a resurgence of it? Are they seeing a new popularity? And where do they see that going? And most people think that it's cyclical. I think most people think that this is kind of a fad. It's kind of just like a rising thing and then it'll go away.
You think? I don't.
I don't think it's going to go away. I think that witchcraft and paganism and tarot and astrology are going to become a little bit more acceptable and a little bit more part of everyone's everyday life.
I was going to say respected, but
Ooh.
acceptable works.
Yeah, I like respected for sure. One person said, quote, hype curve. They called it a hype curve because it's just something new and pretty and flashy, and they think that it's going to kind of go
But it's
away.
not new. But it's not new.
You're exactly right. It is not new. This is old, really, really old. Tarot has been around for an extremely long time. Some of the earliest references are what, in the mid 1400s back in Italy?
At least. Yeah, I think that's when the first official decks were created with the 78 cards. I don't know, we did a podcast on it. I feel like it was a little bit before that in China.
Oh, right. Well,
But
did
the
they have the
traditional
cards or was it the automatic writing?
might have been the automatic writing, but the traditional 78 deck was like around 14th century Italy.
Yeah. And it was, artists use it. There's theories that the modern playing cards are derived from that or vice versa. But they've been around for quite a while. And people
More than 5 years.
more than 5 years. And I think, whether this is hype or not, they're not going anywhere because it's a great tool, whether you use it for yourself, just personally use the book and kind of go through and do your own self-guided inner working, with it, kind of do some inner work for yourself.
Okay, now since you wanted to talk about the tarot, we are going to real quickly divert back to some of our Christmas gifts, our Yule gifts that we received. Real quick before we talk about tarot. For those listeners who have been with us from the beginning, do you remember Snack Factory pretzel crisps?
I have added pretzel crisps to my snack rotation because of you.
So,
Oh, and they still haven't sponsored us. Thanks a lot, Snack Factory,
yes,
for
seriously.
nothing.
But I took a break from pretzel crisps for a while. I came across these garlic parmesan the other day. Oh my God. Okay. If
I
you have
mean, it
not
sounds like
had
a bad breath in a bag.
deliciousness. Oh my God.
Well, yeah,
Deliciousness.
but
It is bad breath in a bag.
ugh.
But Snack Factory pretzel crisps, garlic parmesan. I'm a fan. Okay, tarot.
Sound delicious. So back to the tarot. Yeah, we were saying that we had gotten as solstice or Christmas gifts. We've each gotten some tarot decks.
I
I
laughed because I was like, oh, I got 2 decks. And you were like, I got 2 decks. What did you get? What'd you get?
I
What'd you get?
oh, from my lovely daughter, I got the Santa Muerto tarot.
Now
Absolutely.
that looks a little, it reminds me of like New Orleans. Am I right? Am I kind of right?
It's a little more Mexican, a little more Dia de los Muertos, Santa Muerta, the sacred dead.
Ooh.
The artwork is stunningly gorgeous. One thing I absolutely love is the minor arcana. I don't know if you can see on the skulls. Can you see their
Ooh.
eyes?
Oh, they're hearts.
Exactly. Every
And the
single
nose is a heart, but upside down.
Yep. Every single suit, the eyes of the skeletons match like
Like the suit. So if they're hearts, they're cups.
that's right. And if they're
Oh, how
swords,
cool.
that's a spade. Like if they're
Oh, how,
swords, they're spades.
yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a neat little touch, but very beautiful, beautiful cards.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a deck and then we're going to go back and forth. We'll do a back and
I
forth
love it.
here.
Go for it. Show me what you got.
So daughters are great this year.
Aren't they wonderful?
This one is it's called Theme Park.
Oh, cute. Oh, look, it's got cute little animals on it, like a cute little bear and a cute little bunny.
Now, I don't know if you use Line as a chatting platform on your phone, the Line app. We chat online with our friend from England. So the animals on this theme park deck remind me of the Line bear and the Line bunny. They're basically like specific, we'll call them emojis for lack of a better word.
Okay.
They're like specific emojis to that chat platform. But they're cute. Look at
They're
them.
very cute. That's
There's
an adorable deck.
elephants and giraffes. They're lemurs.
It
I
looks
mean,
almost like a kid's circus kind of deck.
it kind of does. But like I said, oops,
Very
I'm trying to get a
gentle.
good angle for you. It's called Theme Park. And they're smaller cards. This is not like your traditional, it's not like a mini deck, but it's not like a full-size tarot card. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They're little like palm decks. I don't know what to say, but they're cute.
that is cute. That's a very, very cute deck.
Like the Wheel of Fortune, look at it's like a Ferris wheel and they're holding hands.
Aw,
Like
that
it's
turns
super
a
cute.
that can turn a difficult card into a very cute little thing.
This is a deck that is definitely something for, I don't want to call it a fluffy deck, but it's a fluffy deck. It's cute. I would buy this deck for maybe a teenager, a girly girl. It's a very cute deck. I love this deck. And so that was one of my decks I received as a gift. So what was your second?
Well, I just want to say that I do feel that decks definitely have personalities. Not all
Oh,
of them.
absolutely.
Some of them are just decks, but quite a few of them will have a very distinct voice, a very distinct personality. I've even had one particular deck that would lie to me. I don't think this deck liked me. If I ever did a reading for myself, it always told me I was going to die.
Nice. That's
It
awesome.
really, yeah. And it was a beautiful deck. It was it was made by an artist who had done collages of things and then taken pictures of these beautiful found object collages. And those were the tarot cards. And I was never able to connect with this deck. It would literally do readings for people that was outright lies. It was never right. And it always told me I was going to die. And one time when we were doing a tarot presentation at a college, we had gone to a large university and we're doing a tarot presentation. Afterwards, we all kind of went around and did readings for people.
I
And
remember that.
this young person came up to me and I was giving them a reading. those cards just jumped out, and I did a reading for this person, and it was perfect. It was spot on. It was glowing. It was
I think I know
beautiful.
what deck you're talking about because I remember that.
So this deck loved this young person, so I gave it to them.
But I feel like this is, I don't want to say like a fluffy bunny deck, but kind of like a fluffy bunny deck, like a very cutesy and whimsically.
Yep. I believe it. They have personalities. Sometimes the decks themselves will absolutely have personalities. Sometimes it goes along with how they look, like yours. It looks cutesy and pretty and nice, and it
But it
kind of has
feels
that vibe.
cutesy and nice.
Mine looked beautiful and had a very sinister vibe, at least for me. For this other person, it seemed to love them, and so I hope they're still very happy.
So what's your second deck?
The second deck my lovely beloved got for me, and this is I've showed you this already. This one is called the Dark Mansion Tarot.
Love, 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 love.
I just absolutely love everything about this deck. I love the box. I love everything on the inside of the little inscription.
Oh, how gorgeous.
Artwork is just stunning, and it's different and it's beautiful. It's by Taroteca Studios, and it's called the Dark Mansion Tarot. Just gorgeous.
Nice.
Just kind of, different artwork. This is something a little more whimsical than I normally choose, but how fun is that?
It's fun in a darker way.
I guess I kind of gravitate towards those. But just I love the artwork. It's stunning, and I love a detailed tarot card. I like the ones that are rich in details, because the way I read, there's the meaning of the card, but it's layered with what's on the card, the symbolism itself that's in the card. And you know from doing tarot readings yourself, sometimes when you're doing a reading, a certain symbol or color or object or picture on a tarot card will catch your eye, and it's that
Right.
symbolism you need to follow rather than the precise meaning of the card. You need to go into more of a nuance of it. So the more richly detailed the cards are,
The
better
better.
I feel I can get into a space where I can read for someone.
Right, right. I think that's what started my tarot collecting obsession, because I think the two decks I got this holiday season are putting me at about the 150 range.
Oh yeah, what's the second one?
I think sometimes it's about the vibe you get. And again, you're going to get cards as gifts, and people are going to give them to you. And that's one thing I do want to point out. You can buy your own tarot deck. There are people out there that feel that you have to be gifted a tarot deck. To that, I call bullshit. Okay.
Bullshit.
Go out and buy yourself a damn deck. Make the plunge.
Buy a deck, buy a brand new deck, buy a deck with cartoon characters, buy a deck with traditional Rider-Waite symbolism, buy a deck.
Whatever you feel.
Whatever works for you. Use the book that comes with it, use an online guide, whatever works for you. As long as you're not trying to tell someone that you're a professional when you're not, when you haven't put in the work and put in the study, go for it. Do readings for yourself, do readings for your friends, and you're going to find some amazing truths and insights just using these cards for yourself. So go for it.
But we talk about the explosion of witchcraft and Wicca and paganism and spiritualism. There's also that equal explosion with tarot, which is how I'm segueing into my second deck. I'm getting there.
Okay. I can't wait to see it. I'm just so excited.
I am an Amazon shopper. I think that's why I ended up getting Amazon Prime. I think like 10 or more years ago, was because I started buying tarot decks online. When you're in rural upstate New York, your tarot shop options are limited. And when you become an obsessive collector, you have to branch out to Amazon. So I've been searching. I've bought so many decks online, and sometimes you get to the point where you start seeing the same things over and over. So I started looking at a little site that I'm sure everybody's familiar with called Etsy.
Love Etsy.
What's been happening, the surge in tarot reading and tarot interest and divination interest, what's been happening is people aren't just happy with what they're finding being put out there by Llewellyn or US Game Systems or wherever. So they're starting to make their own. And you're finding more unique, less commercial decks. maybe 100 were made, or maybe they only are making them as they're ordered. Kickstarter is another one,
I'm working on one myself, actually.
which, by the way, Layla is going to make sure that it is available for all of us once it's done. There's a lot of people on Etsy creating their own decks. There's, truly even on Amazon, people creating their own decks. So now, where you might have only been able to find maybe 20, 30, 40 different deck variations in the past, all of a sudden you're starting to find literally hundreds and thousands of different ones that are very unique. Some are very limited quality. And I believe that this one is one such deck. So the second deck I was gifted.
Ooh, that's different.
Isn't that pretty?
It's
It's
is that
called,
pot leaves?
yes, it is. It is called the 420 Tarot.
There we go. Nice.
The 420 Tarot. This was created by Juliana W. Rose. The back of the box, I love this. Light up, pull a card, and answer all of your burning questions.
Nice. Very cool looking so far, Juliana Rose.
It says 420 Tarot combines the magic of cannabis with the wisdom of traditional tarot in an easy-to-use deck for the curious and creative stoner or anyone wanting to unlock their power of their intuition.
I love it.
So far, so good. Now, I'm going to open the box for you. So I'm laughing. Like, you know how boxes are. They always got these things. So on the inside, it says, have fun and don't get cursed. You don't put that on a tarot deck, for the love of God. Oh my God.
Well, nobody
So-
wants to get cursed.
Right? So then on the other side, it says a warning. The magic this deck can unlock is very powerful and therefore protected by a very scary and real curse. This curse is activated by unchecked biases and complacency with white supremacy. If you are white or benefit from white privilege and are not actively working for the joy and liberation of Black and Brown people on a daily basis, put these cards away. It will not go well for you. That's heavy.
It is pretty heavy. This
That's heavy.
whole company talks about giving back to Black women, femmes. According to their website, they do a lot of work to kind of promote equality, social justice, particularly in the cannabis field. And as we know, it has been rife with racism and discrimination and problems right from the fucking name marijuana.
It still is to this very second. What you talking about?
Exactly. To this very fucking day, it's been overtaken. And, during Prohibition, the punishments came down pretty heavily on Black and brown people, more so than white people. And it just is continuing today. So I'm not surprised. And I kind of am a little happy that they're at least trying to bring an awareness to that. As it might make people uncomfortable, but at least they're trying to make people think.
I like what they're doing. I don't like the word curse. I love what they're doing. Different verbiage.
I do see one review where it kind of scared off a tarot newbie who was gifted these cards. They had no idea the curse was there, and it really, really scared them.
Yeah. But look at these cards. Like, I'm laughing because everybody has like bloodshot eyes. They're smoking joints.
I
Like,
love these.
even the
What is
Hierophant.
that?
He's hiding. The hermit's hiding in the dark with his joint.
Lighting up a joint. I love that. These are great.
Then they give you some different spreads, which, same as a book. They kind of give you some pointers. There's a section if you've never done this before, which they actually talk about smoking while doing tarot cards under the if you've never done this before section. I love it.
Nice. I looked up the 420 Tarot website, and I'm looking at the part about Juliana Rose. She's the illustrator who created it, and she says, I'm an illustrator who loves tarot and weed, and I have magic in my mixed race, Korean and white blood. I am the creator of 420 Tarot. And she says that it was sparked from a conversation with some friends who own smoke shops, and that she spent a couple months getting high and listening to the Moana soundtrack while illustrating each card. And I just think that's a lot of fun. And she says the process infused the deck with joy and magic. The experience was an easy and generous flow.
Check this out. This is a cute thing. There's a section called Your 420 Tarot Fairy Gnome. Every 420 tarot deck comes with a magical fairy gnome. It is a spirit guide here to ensure you pull cards that are clear answers to your questions. Your 420 fairy gnome will meet you where you are. That means there is no wrong way to shuffle the cards. You are building a relationship with your 420 fairy gnome when you pull the cards. Be good to them. They prefer when they're home, the deck in the box is clean and tidy, and they love smoking weed with you. The 420 fairy gnomes are unique and diverse, just like you and me. They are speedy and too small to see with the naked eye. You can get to know your fairy gnome with your 420 fairy gnome spread found in this guide.
I love
Like, that's
that.
cute. I like that. And then there's a little picture of the 420 fairy gnome right there.
Oh, how cute. Cute. That actually kind of goes along with something I'm doing for my tarot deck, which, as you know, I'm using AI to help, along with some other online art studios, to create my own tarot deck. One of the things I want to do is it's going to be a limited run deck of 420 decks, and each deck is going to come with its own guide. There will be an AI chaos generated deck fairy to go with each deck. Will have a guide, and they will all be unique. So every single deck will have its own unique card
Ooh.
that has a picture of a creature, a fairy, a deck guide of some sort that will be unique to each different deck.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right? One of the things I wanted to do, I very often do a yearly spread for myself in January. Do you do anything like that, Shell?
I do. I usually do it on New Year's Day, though.
Yep. I usually do it either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And I'll do a year long spread for myself to kind of see, give me kind of an idea of what the year is going to be like. And sometimes also to put a little intention in there on what I want the year to look like. And so with that in mind, I thought I would take one of my brand new decks and shuffle it up and do a 3-card draw just for the month of January. And since, I can't do a reading for everyone, it would be just way too freaking general. I'm sorry, my beloved audience, but there's too many of you. But so instead of doing a general reading for all of you, I'm going to do a 3-card tarot spread for all my fellow Aquarians. And so I'll do that. I'm going to start shuffling the cards, and I'll do a little 3-card spread and see what our January is going to be like, my fellow air signs. So what kind of spread do you do for the New Year's, Shell? Do you have any particular spread that you do? Do you do like a wheel of the year?
No, I just do the full on, my normal Celtic cross, I
You
think.
do the Celtic cross and just the intention of it being for the year
I
to come.
I just use that spread for everything. I don't really vary away from it. Not gonna lie.
I love that spread. It's very useful. It's very flexible.
I'm a creature of habit,
I do have a year spread that I like to do that I will put I'll see if I can get some type of drawing of it, and I'll put that in the show notes if anyone else wants to do a tarot reading for themselves for their year to come. All right, Chef. So I've got my cards all shuffled up here. I'm going to cut them, and then I will draw 3 cards to be for all Aquarians who are listening right now, from myself included, since my birthday month is coming up here shortly.
It is. I'm still excited for your tarot deck.
Right? I'm hoping to have it out by the middle of the year. No Kickstarter necessary, but we'll see how it goes. It's a lot of work. Okay, I'm going to show you the 3 cards that I pulled, and I just do a little 3-card for my monthly readings. I just do a small 3-card little crescent. And the first card is usually the influences from the past that will affect the month. And for that, I got the 5 of Wands.
Nice card. I like that card.
And then for the second card, that's going to be the major theme that carries through the month. And for that, I got the 9 of Pentacles.
Ooh, that's a cute card too.
And then for the card that's kind of going to lead me out of the month and be kind of the conclusion of all of this, I have the Hermit.
Ooh, interesting way to lead into February.
Right? Very interesting. So we've got these 3 cards, my Aquarius tarot spread here. So we've got 3 cards, and we said that the first card, forces leading into the month. Themes that we've had in our life that are kind of continuing to be an issue in this month. Unfortunately, for our January, we're going to start out with a little bit of conflict. It's not going to be the easiest beginning to the month. It looks like there are stresses and conflicts from recent months, possibly, or recent events that are going to kind of continue to cause issues in January. But then it goes into the Nine of Pentacles, which is a very fulfilling card. I can't see Pentacles and you, Shell, without thinking of the Ten of Pentacles in your one deck. That was the weed card. What was the herbalism deck?
Yep, it was the herbal tarot, and the weed card, it was a rainbow with weed all over it, and it said happily ever after.
Yep, that was the one. And so Nine of Pentacles is very, very good to have here. It definitely means there's going to be more fulfillment. There's going to be happiness. So after initial conflict, we're going to move into more of a...
With the Nine of Pentacles also, if there's been some extreme financial stress, that some of that will be laying off.
Oh, I love that. Don't we all want that, especially in freaking January?
Right?
The last card that we have for our Aquarius 3-card spread is the Hermit. And I think that's kind of an interesting card. The first two make sense. You know, you kind of have conflict and stress, most likely over money.
Look at the time of year. You're going to be sliding into February, the coldest part of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. We are hunkering down. We're hunkering down. We're hermiting for February. That's what we do.
And I think that kind of goes along with, so money stress kind of easing and money coming to you and lightening that burden, a little bit more bountiful, a little bit more
relaxed.
A little more relaxed, much
stresses,
less stressful.
What I'm getting from it is stresses are eased financially.
That's right. And the Hermit is also kind of saying to continue with this financial easing, stay home.
'Tis the season to be a hermit.
That's right. 'Tis the season to stay home, smoke your own weed, and kind of slow down on the spending and work on yourself, work on your inner self a little bit. So I think that's our 3 cards for Aquarius, you know, easing of stress and a little bit of money coming and a lot of going within. And as Aquarians, we do a lot of that anyway. So totally fitting.
To my son, you're an Aquarius. Listen to Laylla.
Yes. Aquarians unite. We got this. So yeah, it's going to be a good month for Aquarians. Start out a little rocky, but it's going to get a lot better. So yay us.
Go Aquarians. And so, you know, speaking of your beautiful monthly spread, that brought us to a beautiful idea. We're actually going to do this every month. So our last episode of each month, we're going to do a 3-card spread for the coming month. So next month, at the end of January, I will actually offer up to do the 3-card spread for all of you folk, because it'll be Layla's birthday. And so we'll add a little birthday vibe into there. As long as Layla reminds my stoned brain to do this, at the end of January, we'll do another 3-card spread for going into February. So yeah, wait for it. It'll be fun.
But it's just, you know, it's a lot of fun to use technology for something as old school as tarot. You can even use technology to kind of play around with that and to personalize it and make it something all your own.
You know, there's been talk, and I've seen on different forums of people saying, you know, well, if you use AI, it's not legitimate. Those aren't real tarot cards. You know, everybody who listens knows that I am change is not my friend. And even I'm getting into the AI tarot, because what is the difference if you're sitting there with colored pencils and a piece of paper, or if you're sitting there typing stuff in to an AI program? That is still your personal creativity. It is still your intention. Like we just were talking about the Lover's card. We were talking about the qualities we think make up the Lover's card. So it's your intention as an artist, and whatever platform you are using to get your art out there, it shouldn't matter. Art's art, whether you're using colored pencils, paint and brush, or AI programs. It's all the intention into it, and I love it. And as a tarot addict and collector, it just gives me more cool tarot decks to add to my collection.
I don't see myself as an artist. Using this AI, I don't see myself as the artist. I see more myself as questioning chaos. I see AI as kind of a type of magic. It's a type of randomness. I cannot tell the AI exactly what I want it to do. We gave it some suggestions, for that lover's card, Shell. And as you saw, it did not take them literally. It came up with its own ideas. And when we said couple, quite a few of them were male female couples, but there was a couple female female couples in there as well. And
Right.
the AI will just randomly choose what it wants to do. And so when I'm making my tarot cards, I craft prompts with magical intention, with the idea of seeing what chaos comes up with. I'm not creating it. I'm just kind of doing a spell to
It's
pull.
not your interpretation of that particular thought. It's AI's interpretation of your particular thought.
Or what I call it as chaos. It's chaos's interpretation. So I am pulling order from chaos. I'm doing a spell every time I create a tarot card, and then I hone it and refine it using traditional art tools. So I don't think this is ever going to replace artists. It's different. It's kind of like back in the day when they thought cameras would replace paint and pencil artists, and it didn't. It's just different.
But as a 30-year tarot reader and tarot collector, I would just as quickly buy a deck that was AI created as I would one that was artist created with painting or pen or what have you.
It's the intention behind it, and it's
Absolutely.
and it's what you're looking to get out of it. And different, like you said, different decks are going to resonate in different ways and with different people. And for me, I love reading for people professionally. I have had a wonderful time and a great career doing that for people. And you've done it. We love reading for other people. And I'm stoned. I forget where the fuck I was going with this. But reading for yourself is also a fabulous thing to do with tarot cards. And so wherever you can get those cards, whatever works for you to unlock your subconscious and to kind of help you get in touch with that, doesn't really matter who created it or what created it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I just wanted to put it out there because I know there's been a lot of questions lately, but I think there's just as much value in these AI artwork decks as there are in traditional artwork decks.
There's beautiful artwork out there, and I highly encourage people to seek out like this Taroteca deck and your 420 deck. Those were created by artists, and they're not a big commercial run.
Right.
Those are the ones that I vibe with the most. Those are the ones that I find have the most value to me, the ones that were created more personally, I think, or crafted more carefully. And there's
Less
always,
mass produced.
exactly. There's always going to be a high demand for that because of the quality from
Right.
artists, whatever type of artist they happen to be.
Right, right. Keep them coming, people, because I love tarot and I want more.
Right, me too. So I'm really loving this resurgence of astrology and tarot and witchcraft everywhere.
Am I turning you into a tarot collector? Because
A little bit.
I feel like you're getting more and more decks on hand.
You know, it seems like in my life, I started out with the one deck my grandmother gave me, and I read with that for years and years and years and years before I ever got my second deck. And then I had like a second deck, and I used that for quite a few years. And then I got the Londa Tarot, and I used that for a very, very long time. Every once in a while, I would pick up a deck, but I would almost never replace the main deck that I had. So I have a dozen or so, not very many at all, but I would tend to get attached to a deck, and I use it for a very long time. And I think once we moved out to California and I kind of left my tarot reading practice behind, I stopped for a little while. And it wasn't until right before you and I reconnected and started doing this podcast that I started doing readings for myself and for friends again and really getting back into it. And I was feeling that I had outgrown the Londa Tarot. I was ready for something new. And so I'm still searching. I haven't found the replacement tarot deck yet, but I think that's why I'm starting to purchase and be given more decks, because I'm actively seeking what my next partner deck, I guess, will be for a little while.
And that's so funny because I kind of disconnected from tarot for a while. And, you know, I used that witch's tarot for forever and a day. I used that deck so much I wore out the prints on it and had to buy a new one. So, but like I had taken a tarot break. Everybody needs a tarot break after a while.
You do.
And I'm actually, I when I circled back to it, you're going to laugh at me, but for the first time in my life, and I used to loathe this deck. I'm like, oh, that's so cliche. I'm never going to touch that thing. Rider Waite, man. Rider Waite.
This is not the first time you have mentioned that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's not. It's not, because prior to
I
starting
have
this podcast,
150 decks and I go back to Rider-Waite, and I've never used it before. Never, ever, ever.
it's reconnecting. It's reconnecting to roots. It's going back to basics. And I think that's kind of something that people are feeling everywhere. We all want something more, something that has real meaning, something that brings us together, that's inclusive instead of divisive. We want that connectedness. We want to be connected to the earth and to each other. And I think going back to Rider-Waite is kind of a symbol of that, back to simplicity, back to the beginning, back to our roots.
It's just ironic.
It is. It is. For someone with 150 decks of every color, flavor, style, interpretation that you could possibly have, to go back to the traditional Rider-Waite.
Especially when you factor in that I've never really used it. Ever.
No, and oddly, that's not one that you started with, and it's not one that I really could. My original deck was a Rider-Waite knockoff, I guess, cousin, derivative, very very similar, and that's what I learned on and used for a very long time. But when I started teaching my daughter tarot, I didn't go to the Rider-Waite because the newer decks are so much richer and the symbolism is so much better. But that's not to say that she won't get back to it. I'm not surprised someone like you, who has such a varied history and such a long history, you might want something traditional.
Apparently
You do. How's it working for you? You liking it?
I do. And I kind of laugh at myself at the fact that I do. Just because, who'd have thought?
No,
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Who'd have thought?
It's definitely a surprise. So I think that's it for our Ghosts of Christmas Future, talking about the future of tarot and paganism.
And I'm really excited. We're going to go into 2023 and we're going to bring you guys a lot more tarot-y type stuff. Like I said, we're going to try to do a monthly spread, and we're going to try to talk about some tarot a little more and maybe have some tarot giveaways as the year progresses.
So lots coming up new for you in 2023. Thank you all so much for sharing 2022 with us. This has been a wild ride. Thanks again to Darlene and Kaylin for joining us. Badass best friends Stoned Witches are always welcome to hang out on the Stoned Witches Hour.
Guess what we're going to start 2023 with?
What?
Episode 50.
No
50.
way. Episode
50.
That'll be our first one for 2023. How epic is that?
So yeah, first episode is for 23 is going to be episode 50. So again, we're going to have a lot of new stuff. We're going to shake it up a little bit, and we're still going to be high. So pack your bongs and grab a comfy blanket because we're still smoking.
So enjoy your lost week between the 26th and the 1st. Nothing counts. Try to be at least a little good. We will see you after the new year. Be safe, be healthy, stay high, and stay happy.
Pack a bong for us on New Year's Eve, folks, because we'll be packing one for you.
Oh yeah, we'll be ringing it in with some kind bud. Happy New Year. We'll see you on the other side of 2023.
Happy New Year.